Champions Cup semi-final, folks, and that's not how that one was supposed to go down. Leinster lose it at home, 37 points to 34. I got a stupid clock to watch this one, and I'm pretty glad I did because I don't think I would have believed it. 37-34. I didn't even check what the bookies had on Leinster for this one, but I know it was Leinster by a bundle. Hat trick to Tommy Freeman. Pollock bloody making tackles for days. Bit of controversy at the end with the big old TMO call and having to sort things out, but ultimately, Northampton hang on despite multiple yellow cards and book themselves a spot in the Champions Cup final. Leinster have been just a juggernaut in their last couple of Champions Cup games, so for them to get beaten at home, I don't know how many pundits were calling this one. I would say few, if any. I think 4 lead changes in the game. Pretty bonkers stuff. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts, but ultimately, big old congratulations to Northampton, and for Leinster, geez, you got to win the URC now. Otherwise, yeah, major questions, I suppose. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. It was quite the contrast as I rolled out. It's a bit chilly here and dark and dreary Auckland at 4:30 in the morning, but beautiful day in Dublin. And yeah, really good crowd in attendance seemingly. Great to see some, some actions, some good voice. And neither side was able to land the kind of earliest of blows in the first 5 minutes. Leinster's maul got shut down, which was maybe a little bit ominous because it's been a real weapon of them. They did get one more try, but Northampton handled the first one pretty well, and Northampton themselves, when they had a first second chance, ended up knocking it on, so both sides able to shut each other down early. But Northampton got the first blow, and it was the first of Freeman's tries, and it's just from kick return. They do have, even with some guys out, a pretty dangerous backfield, so you've got to be careful when kicking these guys the ball. Ram just looked to run, and he chalked through a heap of run meters in this game. He looked to run from kick return, fed the ball to Finn Smith, who put the dink and kick through for Freeman, and basically, easy as you like. I mean, Finn Smith's line was a pretty nice one, and Freeman is able to go over from that dink through for an early first 10 minutes try, 7 points to 0. Settle things down a bit, I suppose, kind of quiet the crowd down, which is not a bad one, and they backed it up when Iogan won a penalty at the breakdown too, which is pleasing from a Northampton point of view because I've watched enough Leinster games to know that so often after they concede points, they basically hit straight back. They put pressure on teams from the restart itself. So, yeah, they won a penalty at the breakdown. So, yeah, the shutdown that Leinster traditional kind of straight up hit back, although Pollock did concede a penalty a few minutes later, which Leinster were able to slot to make it 7 points to 3. And yeah, Tommy O'Brien, he was looking dangerous out on that right wing as well. Basically from the restart, Northampton started conceding a bunch of penalties, and like the penalty count was not hugely lopsided in the first half, but like Northampton conceded 6 and Leinster conceded 5. But all 6 of Northampton's ones were in their own half, whereas Leinster, I think 4 of their 5 were in the opposition half. So very kind of different penalties to being conceding. And eventually those penalties led to Leinster's first try of the game. I mean, it was basically a quick tap from a scrum from James Gibson Park, and they spun it wide. And yeah, Prendergast and Gibson Park with the nice hands. O'Brien was able to finish that one off, which was pleasing because he had a big hand in kind of setting up, Leinster's pressure from the restart. So 8 points to 7. Leinster are back in front, although they did lose an attacking line-out not too long later. And they'd lost a couple of attacking line-outs, to be fair. Northampton did well to contest it. Freeman with a nice line break from there led to a bit of territory, and Leinster conceding a penalty meant Northampton were able to hit back. So real kind of tit-for-tat stuff in this game, and I feel like when Leinster do the review, they'll be disappointed with how many attacking opportunities were turned into kind of defensive moments. But yeah, that one was just basically not being able to secure their own line-up ball, which directly led to conceding 3 points, which, again, considering the margin, is pretty brutal. But 10 points to 8, Leinster are behind. And Leinster did do their kind of hit straight back thing this time, though. This time it was low with a quick tap penalty. then Deacon with the pop from the deck. He seemed to have all the time in the world, despite the fact that he was flat on his back, to pop the ball to Van der Fleer, who was able to power over for his first of 2 tries. So ultimately, because they considered a penalty and a yellow card with the build up to that as well, Northampton, I feel like, again, guilty a bit too much of conceding penalties in their own half. And Leinster in front 15-10. But this is the moment I felt like Leinster are going to power away with this game. They've got the man advantage. Northampton have been conceding penalties for days. Leinster kind of go for the jugular. But it didn't really happen. Despite the yellow card, Mitchell and Pollock combined for a hell of a try. That guy Pollock, there's been so much, like every Lions bolter chat you see includes this guy's name. He is lightning and hits the ball at pace. Alex Mitchell just feeds him a bloody good ball and he just burns wide and he's able to go past Prendergast. So yellow card on her yellow card, 17 points to 15. It's another lead change as if we haven't had enough of those. And then, man, like we go from 15-10 to Leinster to 27-15 Northampton in no time. This is, again, not going to look that great on the review for Leinster, but hell of a bit of play from Northampton. Geez, they're a fun team to watch. Freeman on the right wing, attacking after a line out inside Leinster's half, and then Pollock, Smith, and Litchfield combine. Freeman is the guy who finishes it off, so his second try of the game, and he gets his hat-trick like another minute later, and it's just a simple 50-50 contestable ball. Chuck it up. Keenan, who's usually safe as houses, can't take it under the high ball, and then Augustus. If you thought Deegan's pop ball from the deck was great earlier from a loose forward, Augustus's one-handed offload over his head is equally as skillful. Wow, and Freeman, 27 points to 15. That is a heck of an unexpected lead for Northampton going into the sheds at half-time. Leinster chucked the kitchen sink at them before half-time, but Northampton were able to win a penalty to kind of, see themselves into the sheds. So it's a good half-time lead for Northampton, despite only having 42% possession, despite only having 43% territory. They've had 353 run meters to Leinster's 119. They've made 6 clean breaks to 4. They've busted 14 tackles to 17. So Leinster's tackle percentage in the first half is like 65%, which is god-awful. Even Northampton's only at 80, which is not as fantastic as you would like. But, yeah, penalty count, like I said, is 5-6. But Northampton's one's largely in their own half. Second half starts not as maybe slick as you'd like. Gibson Park chucks it to Prendergast's ankles, which he then knocks on. But James Lowe kicked a pretty sweet 50-22, which leads to a try. Northampton bloody conceding penalties again in their own half. And Leinster have got these tap moves. It's almost like American football style, the way they're able to kind of shift the point. It looks like they're going to set a pod, but they get Van der Fleer to tap it, and he's got a nice pass, which sends the resulting pod, which is shifted right over. So 27 points to 22 when Doris goes over for that one. So back to a tight game. Doris then hit a left-footed 50-22 after stripping in the tackle not too long later as well, which was a proper bit of noteworthy skill. But again, from the attacking line out, they gave away an obstruction penalty. So that's what I'm talking about Leinster attacking chances just sometimes not converted. That's certainly one of them. And then Finn Smith puts 30 points on the board for Northampton as Porter conceded a penalty at the breakdown. So that was a little nice moment for Northampton to kind of stop the potential flow of Leinster points, but they still kept going. They did get a maul try, like I mentioned. Van der Fleer was able to get it done, and again, that one was a bit more of a soft one from Northampton, I feel like, because they had a scrum after, I think it was Snyman had knocked it on. All they needed to do was just scrum and exit, but they mucked around a bit too long, so they ended up conceding a penalty. So, 30 points to 27. Now we're suddenly back to a penalty kick between the sides with the missed conversion. But when Northampton got their first real chance in the second half to get into Leinster's territory, they punished. They tried going back to that move where Pollock just hits the ball at pace close to the line from Mitchell, but that one did not work out this time. But they didn't lose the ball. Augustus had a nice touch in the build-up, and like Sheehan ended up having to kind of half charge down the attack because it looked like Northampton had numbers left, but eventually the quick hands find Ram on the right. 37-27. We're back to a two-score game. That is the final scoring for Northampton, and we've still got a fair bit of game to go, especially when Kemeny gives away a yellow card for a shot on Slimani. That's a bizarre one, mainly because of the wording of the referee. Like, I don't know where your chest is, but I don't think it's on your chin. I don't think there was a heck of a lot of chest in that shot, but they say that he hit him in the chest, so it's only a yellow card. There's not that much game time to go, so I guess it doesn't matter a heck of a lot in the scheme of things. I didn't actually notice if Kemeny came back on for the last play or not, but I don't think it mattered. But yeah, he gets himself yellow carded. So 10 points to go, 14 against 15. Leinster another 5-metre tap play. And this time they look like they're going to do that kind of same move, but they switch it up and send it to the backs, which means low over in the corner, and a hell of a conversion from Prendergast. So 37-34. Nice bit of deception. I love seeing when teams just subvert your expectations on what they're going to do, and it was such a hard one to predict. So that is the final scoring of the game. But there's certainly a bit more drama, especially because Northampton got turned over down the Leinster end, and then there was another moment where Augustus had a late shot on Tommy O'Brien, which he milked all day. He went down pretty easily, but again, why wouldn't you? Given that moment of the game, Augustus, you could say he's committed, but he needs to make every effort to not touch him because the man is going to go down at that kind of moment. But yeah, there was a bunch of Leinster attack again. Northampton get the turnover through Pollock. He's having a hell of a game. And then the bizarrest moment maybe of them all, Northampton tackling so many phases. TMO has to have a look when Van der Fleer had gone close into the corner from a James Lowe pass. The ball kind of spills out, and Ross Byrne looks to have potentially tapped it down, but he's on his knees. What's going on? What's going on is Coles gets yellow carded for kind of a strip off his feet in the tackle, so he gets yellow carded, and Leinster have got another chance to do one of their tap plays, but it goes all in one phase before Northampton get the turnover, see out the clock with 1 minute to play, and that is all she wrote. So the third tap play is not the one that is the charm. Northampton, they celebrated very, very emphatically, excitedly. What's the word I'm looking for here at now 6:50 in the morning here in NZ? They were pretty happy because I think they felt maybe, I don't know, a little bit maybe disrespected by the kind of chat that they were just there to make up the numbers and they were going to get flogged like the other Premiership teams had done in this Champions Cup. Well, hell of a performance from them. Leinster still had 57% possession, 60% territory, but the defenders beaten 40-29, which means 40 missed tackles by Leinster. Leinster only attempted 140, so 100 made, 40 missed is not a great return. Clean breaks is 7 apiece. Ram, 120 metres, 8 defenders beaten. Freeman, 100 metres, hat-trick from him. Pollock, 23 tackles. The next best tackler had 14. That is a heck of a shift. I mean, McCarthy had 6 defenders beaten. Tommy O'Brien had 3 clean breaks, but wow. Nobody saw that coming. Tomorrow's game, Toulouse up against Bordeaux. We'll see who Northampton will take on at the final at Cardiff. But as I said, with Leinster, there's going to be some questions asked after this one for sure. And as I said, if they don't win the URC, questions get very serious. But today is more about Northampton. Big congratulations to them. Premiership season's not been going as flash as they would have liked. But geez, a Champions Cup final maybe makes up for a bit of that. How do you guys reckon they will go in the final? Will they be written off once again, or will they get a bit more respect about them going into the final? I'm not going to watch the other semi-final live because it's at 2:30, which is just a bit too brutal, but I'll catch up on that tomorrow, well after the fact. You guys take care of yourselves. Let us know your thoughts on the game, and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.